What's going on, everybody? It's Frito here for Your Overwatch. Soldier has landed himself to be the most reliable damage dealer in the whole cast. And although I bet in the next patch they'll tune him down a bit, the Soldier 2.0 rework that addressed his recoil cemented in some principles that are doubtful to go away anytime soon, even in Overwatch 2. So the concepts we cover today should hold for a very long time. So if you're looking to rank up your game, learning proper Soldier play is going to take you a long way. Today's video is sponsored by the Overwatch League. This week is the playoffs with the grand finals on Saturday the 25th. The 8 teams that made it are really competitive this year. It's going to be quite a show, but they got lots of other reasons you'll want to tune in for. As always, earn OWL tokens for skins, lots of matches to do that, but better yet, during the pre-show of the grand finals on Saturday, the devs will be talking about Sombra and Bastion's Overwatch 2 reworks. Also, they'll have a Overwatch 2 5v5 pro player exhibition match, which will show off more of what to expect with 5v5 gameplay, but with the devs there, there's always more drops of information that you'll not want to miss out on. You can also earn an exclusive grand final spray, 6 Overwatch League skins, and 100 Overwatch League tokens just for tuning in. And one last cherry on top, yours truly will be making a surprise appearance on one of the broadcasts this week. Check it out live on the Overwatch League's YouTube channel. So all things considered, don't miss out on the action all this week. Whether to farm up lots of tokens, learn about Overwatch 2, or see me on the broadcast, tune in all this week, and especially early for the pre-show on Saturday for the grand finals on September 25th, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific time. You're not going to want to miss out. I'll see you guys there. Remember, guys, click that link in the description. We thank the Overwatch League for supporting the channel and hope you guys check out the grand finals action using our referral link down below. Soldier is a character that's going to reward you the better you are at reading openings on the map. Simplifying it to a sentence, what you want to do is take the widest, most aggressive angle you can and keep firing until they all fall. I think often players are uninitiated to what some of these terms mean. An angle comes from geometry class. It could be summed up to say your viewing angle of the fight. Here on Junkertown, a lot of players just show the enemy team maximum respect, only staying on their side, but because Soldier has legs, there's a health pack nearby and lots of cover. If the enemy does not contest me, I'm going to take a bigger and wider angle so I can pick the exact target I want to go at. Squishy backliners being the most vulnerable. Why sit back and shoot at a shield when you can press W into the play? Although you're going to need to know how to aim on Soldier, it's your movement that's going to put you in the positions for victory. And I think the thing that makes a lot of players uncomfortable playing this way is that it's offset from your team. Emboldened, of course, if you have a Mercy with you, but even if you don't have a Mercy, because you have your own health station or can use your legs to get to health packs, you're better off running to the high ground as opposed to trying to stay with your team, assuming that there isn't dive threats that can single you out. By fearlessly taking as much space for myself as I can, prioritizing high ground for good vantage points, the team fights can resolve. Which is to say, if this ever happens to you in Overwatch, where your team gets a pick or two, but you seemingly can't finish the fight, it's oftentimes because your kill potential isn't set up well enough. Which is why you can never allow this to happen to yourself when playing this role. Here we'll take a look at a Masters player who's doing a good job staying around his team, but as I told you earlier, that's a risky playstyle. Although playing with your team does gain you the benefit of their protection and maximizing their abilities, we can use our shields and we can use our window, it's also forcing us to look down this really narrow sight line. This is what you would call a shallow or narrow angle, where there's a whole map out there, but all we can see is this small window, and hopefully the enemy walks into it. As it happens, the enemy tracer goes uncontested, mainly because there was nothing marking the outside of the map, and our team just isn't really trying to take space. Although sometimes playing this defensive can work. Apparently it can work long enough for you to get to Masters. As soon as the enemy knows how to take map control on you, you're going to consistently lose these types of fights. Remember, Soldier can run away and heal himself, meaning that he can play more aggressive angles than you might expect other squishier characters like McCree to be able to play. Remember as well, we have our ultimate in this situation. It's lethal enough that we don't need window, we need a line of sight. And with the enemy having a Roadhog, the Sigma's not going to be enough to be able to protect his squishies. With a Tracer zipping about, Ana and Zen taking whatever space they want, we allowed this team fight to establish the enemy's high firepower backline uncontested. The Ana can just walk out into the open and land a full team anti-nade. This staircase outside grants us that wide open angle and gives us natural cover that we can use to line of sight if Roadhog tries to launch a hook at us. And although there are ways we could die playing there, like Widow popping us with a headshot, Tracer sticking us with a pulse, whatever, more often than not, you're going to win by forcing the enemy back, applying pressure, and looking for picks first by contesting map control as opposed to hiding as a full team, allowing them to set up as much map control as they want, setting up their win conditions. There's no excuse for us to have sights and all these squishies to be able to roam across anywhere on the map that they want. Regardless of where our team plays here, we should have had 1 to 2 kills and even died for it prior to them taking all this map. The next round on Mecha Base is a very similar example. Our hero is looking down one of the most narrow sight lines on the entire map. All we can see is the enemy tanks. Meanwhile, there's squishies uncontested wherever they want to be. And even though we get a pick, we're fighting from such a terrible position where maybe a McCree with a stun and fan the hammer on the tanks would have the tank buster damage to play this close range angle. Soldier kind of doesn't, even with the added damage buff. Because we're not playing a bigger angle, the enemy flanker characters can go in and out uncontested. And if Doomfist is cycling his cooldowns on you as Soldier, he's going to get pickoffs faster than you can, while you just apply vague pressure to the Sigma, then he grasps, falls back, heals up, goes back in. The Doomfist will keep cycling his cooldowns to get full-on pickoffs. Imagine instead if we played from the bridge side. We'd be able to poke down the Doomfist from far before he comes in, or get a pickoff on something else that's roaming around the top. Understanding what angle to play will come from combining looking for natural cover to have a good vantage point on your key targets, but also molding around the pressure the enemy is putting forward. In this Blizzard World clip, I'm presented with what might be called a bit of a Overwatch IQ test, where I'm playing with my team around cover, laying in damage. The enemy Ana pops Nano Boost on the Reinhardt. What I see so many low-ranked players do is assume that means it's everyone then attempts to kill the Nano target, which in some circumstances can work, but unless the math pans out, most times that's wrong. And it's better to dodge the Nano target, who has 50% damage resistance, fighting something that you actually can confirm, as opposed to giving the tankiness value. If you think back to the Busan Downtown example, it's very similar in that if I were to play with my team right behind everyone else, I probably get earth shattered by the Rhine. But because I take an off angle, looking to fight his backline, I can confirm the fight regardless of what happens to the rest of my team. Because the Reinhardt without an Ana easily goes down. But a Nano Reinhardt with an Ana behind him, with us all shooting him, well, we all get shattered and we can't confirm the end of the fight. It's really these repositioning rotations to get the strong angles that confirm and finish fights that is going to go the long way for you with Soldier. You want to stay in the constant mindset of finding those value angles. High ground is powerful for a number of reasons. Standing up here on Busan Mecha Base means that the enemy Moira can't escape from our line of sight while still healing her team, meaning that she either has the choice to hide away from safety doing nothing or to stand out to get shot by us. But it also provides quite a lot of safety and security. The moment our Soldier hero jumps down from the high ground, the retaking Doomfist has a money seismic slam off the top ropes. Meanwhile, if we just retreated back to the other side of the map to retreat to the mini health pack or use our heal station, we would have been able to fight both the McCree and the Doomfist as they came in. So remember, at every moment, you want to be thinking, am I at an effective angle? And the moment you drop down for a close range fight, you can expect Soldier to be easy prey for your enemies. Now, I'd say high ground is underutilized by just about all medal ranked players, where it doesn't get the results they expect it to get. And the main reason is they typically don't have enough awareness as the team fight begins to take shape. Where are the threats that could kill me? And what is the best target for me to shoot at? Where should I stand to get there? Etc, etc. This is all basic Overwatch APM stuff. Our friend in silver at the start of this clip looks like he's doing a lot of the things I've suggested earlier on in the video. But the rest of the enemy team doesn't fall down, Frito. What's going wrong here? Well, remember, we're on the red team, way up here at the top. 3 enemies on the payload we're attacking, and they have multiple blue members attacking our backline, and we're shooting at a Roadhog, who not only is a very tanky member of the enemy team, but is one of the biggest one-hit kills against us on Soldier. Basically, anyone with shotgun type damage is going to have an easy time up against us once they close the distance, or in Roadhog's case, land a hook. After we got our pick off the high ground, it was time to reevaluate where our team was at and what the best target was when we're presented with a shield, a tanky Roadhog, and a Moira behind them. A moment to pause to realize that my team's not really pressuring this angle with me. Why is that? Turning back to realize where they were fighting, which was zippy mobile characters like Lucio, which are really hard for players to hit when he's bouncing around midair, but easier for a hit scan character like Soldier. If you change targets here, not only would you avoid your biggest threats, which were the tanks closing the distance on you, but you also would find a more viable target to help your team. You did the first step really well, but after that is the further movement required. Don't feel locked in shooting at something that's ineffective. Tunnel visioning on that fight on the cart when there was defenseless squishy members of the enemy team fighting ours is what gave the enemy tanks an easy cleanup on you and stopped our team from moving forward to help us. Our hero has a very similar problem on the defense. In this clip, we're fragging the enemy DPS. Soldier gets res, but then we get the Genji blade. This should be a huge victory for our team. But look at this decision to jump down onto the low ground where that enemy Reinhammer is ready to clean us up again, up against a sound barrier. We're not gonna kill this Mercy, and we don't have to worry about touching the cart for a long time. We have a Diva with Nano Boost that should be responsible for doing it. Jumping down off the high ground meant that the enemy Mercy was able to Guardian Angel away. Look how tight this angle is on us. The target is just a foot from us. Blink and you miss it. She's behind all our tanks and the cart now in a position that if we were still on the high ground, we could easily chase and punish. This is how you want to think about moving your angles as the fight develops. Standing further from the fight in the back means all we can see is the Rhine shield, and that's not a carry position. You go for shield break in fights where the team fight is neutral or equal, but it never is the carry play. Staying up top to peek your head out to quickly land a helix and some damage like you were doing repeatedly over and over and over again until all the squishies are gone, that's how you carry this fight. But the second you jump down to rub elbows with the enemy tanks, you're just free cleanup again. Here I'll show you a few clips of me making these decisions on how to adapt to high ground, using the combination of the methodology of taking better angles continuously and rotating through the fight. My team peeks their head outside, then I'm going to get a pick. So I take a defensive posture. My Batiste window is going to mark this lane. They're not coming that direction. When that becomes clear, it's time to rotate to get a surprise angle. Sneak in a helix every 6 seconds if I can, but surprising the enemy at this new angle meant that no one on the enemy team was ready to contest me. Meant I could get damage behind the enemy Rhine shield, punish multiple squishies, and finish the fight with a wide open visor. Now here I'll mix in some more shallow angles and show you how long you should commit to these. When I see a target from behind the shield or a squishy I can land damage on, I sneak it in, but if it doesn't look like it's gonna resolve in an elimination, it's time to look for a better angle. It's then when I sneak up top, I can find the Mercy in a very similar circumstance to our hero on Havana, get her down, and although I go down to the high noon like everybody else, my respawns are back, and these tough checkpoints, when the enemy lose a support, it's very easy to overwhelm any of their point pressure. Picks on damage makes it hard for them to eliminate you, and picks on healers makes it hard for them to stand on the objective. Those are the rules of picking off squishies in Overwatch. Either one can make it easy for your team on the retake. The next example is on Volskaya, a map that is amazing for Soldier. Look at me using my legs to find a great vantage point with a health pack to retreat to. Pressure on the crossfire sets up for the elimination on that key high ground position. And look how this works. It might look like I'm in a desperate situation, like I could die off on my own, but I know the enemy's chasing me, so I use my legs as their legs chases me. And if that's the case, well, my team can move forward at a man advantage. Play these positions, it's okay to run away, right? If multiple enemies chase you, that's going to make space for your team, and that's how you want to ebb and flow it. You apply your pressure, draw aggro towards you, and then kite it away. This skill set is going to be incredibly important in Overwatch 2, where a map like Volskaya, although won't be in the map pool for competitive, I think is indicative of the new map design we should expect, with a lot of flank routes. So many defensive teams on Volskaya B put their whole defensive team just on the point, on the low ground, which means if you take these platforms up top, to get a viewing angle to pick off a squishy, you can solo carry these fights, making tons of space for your team to advance. Even on the defense, you can do this, because the same rules apply on resolving team fights, regardless of who needs to cap the objective. With my own healing station and a free ride to High Ground Town with the option to run to a health pack, this enemy McCree sure wishes more of his teammates came around to punish me, which if they do, you keep running, making space for your team. And then if they don't, well, you get a pack, you heal yourself. It's just a really obnoxious way to play. A way that if you master, you'll dominate the lower ranks and even higher ones that don't respect the angles well enough. Now, the biggest skill set for you to develop to survive when attempting this playstyle is your movement to increase your survivability. So many times when I see lower ranked players play the high ground, they stand so out in the open that the enemy easily sees them and they don't respond to their line of sight. Look on this clip on Nepal, where I'm off on an island by myself, but notice how disciplined my positioning is to press out forward with my HP only when I either am full or am locked in a no retreat duel. The thing that changes whether you press forward or hold back on the cover presented by the high ground, the natural cover you get at your feet, is the relationship of the enemy's line of sight onto you. If they can see you and you need to retreat, fall back further until they're out of your line of sight and just hold there. Even the mere threat of you existing marks their ability to advance, especially with high ground that has cover on the sides of it like it does on Nepal Village here. Just peeking in and out means I have an opportunity to come out at a burst and land a helix, which instantly puts me at a damage advantage, and making my motions shifty, strafing in and out of the cover quickly limits how much visibility the enemy damage have on me and therefore their opportunities to pick me off. Here's an example on Blizzard World with a low healing composition. Notice how I work the cover in order to avoid the pile driver, read that there are 3 enemies on me, then run away, then progressively try to get more and more of an angle. It's moment to moment trying to read, do I have the resources to win this fight in front of me? Can I continue to pressure? Or am I going to get overwhelmed? You can read that quickly by either just looking at the numbers advantage. If they have more enemies than you have teammates near you, well, it's probably dangerous, but also knowing what your biggest threats are. Characters like Wrecking Ball or Doomfist that come in one big burst are some of your biggest threats. So avoiding their setups, especially CC, are going to be key. This is where the guide starts to take full circle, because this survivability connects in with your other playstyles. Where here we're working a high ground position, get a pick, but our team starts to go down. So then we panic and say, whoops, I gotta get right with my team because being with my team is how you play Overwatch. No, wrong. Soldier is a self-sufficient hero. It's all about power angles or health packs. At the moment we made this decision that we just had to get with our team, imagine if we peeked out the window and maybe got a pick on the enemy's supports. If doing that and pulled the enemy attention with our presence being alive, maybe then a team member might sneak in a touch and then it's all up for grabs after that. Remember, the space you make by drawing aggro towards your off angle can solo win. Whether it's the picks you get from your vantage point or pulling that attention towards you, that's how you make space from this type of position. But if you give up on the play too early, well, then you're just a free feed. You can do that when the checkpoint is captured and the spawns are about to flip and you have to regroup, but before that, you don't have to. There's more to play for. We'll combine a lot of these principles by pointing out some key matchups you're gonna want to deal with. A really reliable hero to counter poor Soldier 76 play is Doomfist if you're not careful. The moment you step out of position, you can be a free kill for him. So the way that you counter Doomfist is to remember aggressive angles apply pressure that deny the enemy space. That's our whole spiel on angles, right? So the more damage and poke you're putting into the enemy team before they get to close the distance, the easier time you're going to have. If you full out duck and run and try to hide, well, that makes you an easier dive target. So you want to maximize your threat, not think that there's a way for you to survive if he does close the distance. That just doesn't happen. Similar principles will apply to other flanker type heroes like Genji. So we'll move on to talk about flying heroes who you should feel is a strong matchup for you, and as well maybe is the sole reason why you would want to learn to play one of the easier hit scans so you can have somebody to contest that Pharah or Echo in the sky. Remember, those characters are not very good playing from the low ground. So therefore, the stronger angle you have which is to say the more airspace you can see, the more airspace you deny from them, limiting their options of where they can move. If you play too passive, then you should expect Echo to be able to flank you as she wants, or Pharah to work her vertical cover and spam you out outside of your range. When they come to contest your angle and you're locked into the fight, don't run away. If your positioning is good, it's time to hold your position and hit your shots to finish the duel. Running from either of these targets, once they get on you, is not really an option. You've got the better, easier weapon, so put it to use to confirm the elimination confidently. And if you don't think your aim is up to snuff to do so, I suggest the brand new aim trainer from Seda, where you can modify to put more of the character you want to work on hitting. If you struggle to hit the animations of Pharah or Echo or Mercy, load them up into this and practice your tracking mechanics on their specific movement and hitboxes. I'm not a huge fan of aim trainers that aren't in Overwatch, because so much of Overwatch aim comes with reading the hitbox of the characters and their specific move pattern. The most archetypical problematic example is enemy Pharahs, who in this instance, I'm not going to play the normal high ground, because if you look, my line of sight playing from the back, just with my team, sees all of the vertical cover she'd want to get to. Whereas if I play the high ground, it's going to be a lot easier for her to dive bomb me. Since she's my target, I don't need to do all the extra work of trying to get past the enemy defenses. Well, the Pharah flies above them anyway, so I just need to see where the Pharah is going to be, and I'll be able to mark her for my team. In doing this, I'm still going to be watching the enemy Pharah's projectiles coming in at me, trying to dodge behind cover if I see they're going to hit. But overall, just trying to maintain the vantage point to pressure her down to minimize what she's able to do against my team. I think this is how most hit scan players attempt to zone out Pharah, but after the rebalance, realistically, only Soldier has the range to be able to play at this type of position. So keep that in mind when swapping around what hit scan you want. I mean, Widow and Ashe kind of can do this range, but it's not as easy as Soldier, and they're a little bit less flexible. So I rank Soldier as the #1 option for most players to deal with Pharah. We're gonna skip over the ultimate and just play out some clips of it, because realistically, it's all the same things that we've already discussed, taking those aggressive angles to resolve the fight. The only difference is you have perfect accuracy when using the visor. So it's really those positions and angles that are going to net you the kills. I will say, however, you'll want to remember to drop your healing station as you pop the visor, because there's a bit of an animation cancel you can do, so they both quickly land at the same time, maintaining maximum uptime of your visor, so you don't have to waste time using your refreshments while you should be shooting. But also as well, although Visor's range damage did get buffed a while back, it still doesn't headshot, and it does reload your weapon, so I suggest you unload all your damage from the angle you're at first, or at least enough to like soften the enemy, and then confirm kills with Visor. As if you just pop it too early, the enemy may pay it its due respect and run around cover. You kind of want to trap them in, so sometimes it's useful to bait them into that fight first, let them think they have a chance, and then pop Visor. But that's everything for today's video. Remember to check out the Overwatch League's Grand Finals this Saturday. We'll have a link in the description for you to check out. Head on over to watch the epic finale to Overwatch 1's eSport, and catch me on one of the broadcasts coming up. If you like this video, be sure to leave it with a like, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified when our new videos come out. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.